A stream of consciousness.
Inspired by one word.
Hi, this is One Word Breakdown. I'm C1.
And I'm C2. Let's look for our word, shall we?
Looking. Oh no, we're already starting it.
We're already off the rails. This is not it.
We're already
a good one.
Depart.
Yeah.
Lovely departed.
Oh. Okay.
I like how you always comment that that's not the word, and I always want to say scan.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about scans.
I want to talk about scan.
No. Why is the universe?
I want art, not scan. But you know what? Dems the bitch and rules. Scan.
Oh.
Scan the room. Okay, scan your room.
Yeah.
Scan your room and look for the most ridiculously out of place item in there and tell me about it.
Oh man, I do not usually have out of place items in my room.
We're learning something about you already.
Well, I cleaned them all up this weekend. I had random shit in here before. Yeah. Oh, here we go. This does not belong in a bedroom.
What is that?
But this is sitting here. This is a
Is
little.
that an old school tape recorder? What the
Yeah.
hell is that? Is that a tape recorder? What?
You're gonna wait till you hear the story.
Okay.
This was given to me a long time ago.
Yes.
In 2006.
Okay.
And it was part of the care package that the hospice company brought to me when my daughter was put on hospice care.
Oh no.
I know. So yeah, it's freaking old. But there's things on her here with her voice that I don't have anywhere else. And so I've been playing it and voice, recording it on my iPhone. And then why did I say iPhone? iPhone.
On my iPhone. What's
on
the audio out on that? I may be able to do you one better than what you're doing.
Well, I'll bring it with you. I don't know what you mean by audio out other than there's a thing that says ear.
So just typical headphones?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do what you're doing just so you have the cassette, like just so you have it just in case.
But I can bring it to you?
But bring it and we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, because I'll be there next month, ladies and gentlemen.
Next month for
That's glorious.
my little Chickapoo's B-Day.
We could do a show together side by side.
I know.
Yeah. This is actually apropos because the first thing I thought about when scan came up was her cancer scans. Like that was a big thing. Like, okay, when's the next scan? And like the next scan and the next scan. And the scan was the scariest part because that's the part where you had to see whether the cancer was growing or not, whether the treatment was growing or not, was working or not. In our case, it was usually not. So that was frustrating. But yeah, so that's the very first thing I thought of.
About that.
Let's hear about that.
Yeah, give us like the Reader's Digest. You met a new person and
yeah. Well, I usually wouldn't tell them these details, but I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, because this is not the first time we're meeting. So my daughter had neuroblastoma, which is a childhood cancer. It is extremely rare and extremely deadly. And the first thing we did was have an MRI. The first thing how we found it was we had an MRI scan. So she had a little bump that came out on her eye that it was this eye. It would go like, it would get bigger and go away and get bigger and go away. So if you touched it, you couldn't feel anything. It would just kind of feel like it was just poofy. So nobody could really tell what it was. So we went in to see an eye doctor, and that doctor said, I'll never forget this. My little brother, your older brother, the doctor brother was with us because he was on rounds at Children's at the time. And we went to the doctor there, and the doctor said, well, I can't really see anything. It doesn't really light up for the rhabdo test. So I don't think it's rhabdo, but let's do a scan just in case. And I left that meeting and I don't know anything about that world yet. And I look at our brother and I said, what did he mean by rhabdo? And he said, oh, he meant rhabdomyosarcoma, cancer. And he goes, but that's unlikely. And I'm telling you, in that moment, I knew she had cancer. I just, there was something in me that was like, nah, like I felt it. And then I thought, no.
Kind of.
So then another week and a half or something goes by. They don't schedule us. So I call, hey, what's going on? I'm supposed to be scheduled for this MRI. So she's scheduled to go in, and it is on a noon or something, or 2 or something on a Friday. I had to tell the daycare, don't feed her. She has to go in without any food, so it was kind of difficult to like drop her off, and I had to pick her up. I was in work clothes. We go in and they put her under, and we're sitting there. They do the first scan. And I mean, it's 45 minutes later. Then they finally come, we're just going to take a scan of the rest of her body and And I look back at that time frame now and I'm thinking, man, if I'd have known now what I knew then, because I would have known immediately there was an issue and I would have pressed them.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. So then it's longer. She's in there for 2.5 hours. They put us in a room.
An MRI. Do you mind if it?
Yeah.
Do an MRI of just the location, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, upon review, to come tell you, okay, this is what it looks like, or to report back, they spot a thing and they're like, JK, we're not going to report back. We're going to instead use this moment, because she has to be under so that she doesn't move.
Yeah.
So she has to be under, because for an MRI, you can't move.
Yeah.
Under. And so they're essentially, okay, we're seizing this moment to just be the full T, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And so they frame it that way of, okay, we're just going to get the rest of her body. Like, you guys are stupid parents. You don't know, and we were, I didn't know. Right. So they do the rest of her body, and then they put us in a room and they say, okay, why don't you wait here? We're going to give you a few minutes and the doctor's going to come and speak to you about the scans. And right then, no. And I had to go to the bathroom really bad. This is interesting. 2 times I had to pee so bad in the hospital, and it was when she was diagnosed and when she died. It's just the weirdest thing. So I knew I didn't want to leave, but I had this feeling of, okay, I gotta go to the bathroom because I'm not sure about this. Mm-hmm. So I go to the bathroom and I'm holding her and she's sleeping in my arms, and these doctors come in, and it's customary that they turn their tags around. Otherwise you see oncology on their tags. So a lot of times they'll turn the tag around or take their badges off. So they just talk to you. Yeah. And eventually they tell us that what they found was a tumor in her eye, and it was behind the eye socket, which is why you could press on it and not feel it. And I remember holding her and just like, I gave her to our brother, and I just gave her to our brother. I don't know. I just, and I was just crying and just like, I don't even know what to do. And then I gathered myself. Okay. 1 tumor. Okay. And then they said, and so we scanned the rest of her body, and I'll never forget it because it was really thick Irish accent. And he said, and we found one in her belly. And then I was just, and then I knew this was going to be a long ride. So it was crazy though. So he's teaching me this word neuroblastoma, and I don't have anything, and they've got it
right there.
Huh?
B2 is standing right there.
Yeah, our brother's just in the room with me. And I'm crying and don't know what to do, but I'm also like very hyper focused on what he's trying to tell me. And he's telling me what she has. I don't remember the name of it. But about this time, she starts waking up, and she has a bad reaction to this drug that they put her under with. And so she starts waking up and starts clawing at me, and kind of like, it's like a rage reaction. And I immediately went straight into take care of her mode, and all the tears were gone. I take her and hold her, and they're shoving things in her to get her go back to sleep, because they just need to let her sleep out this stuff. And I remember holding her and them telling me, and I'm like, what does she have again? What is it called? And he had to say it a few times because I'd never heard that word, and I had to remember it because I didn't have phones back then. We had a crappy like little number phone. So I'm like, I couldn't take notes or anything,
Nines, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the first scan. And then of course you learn everything about it, and you learn all the scans, and then it's just a really huge part of the cancer journey is scans. So when as soon as I saw that word, it's right where my brain went.
Wow.
Yeah.
And thus tied to where my brain went, which was scanning for random cancers on my bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah, right. What does not belong here? Get rid of it.
Get it out. Yeah. What is out of place? Smoke it out.
That's right.
Yeah. Man,
So.
I think about, this, it's interesting because this is going to sound like the most self-centered thing in the world. But it's funny, like how I remember hearing about
you can say her name.
About Alexa. I was gonna say your daughter. Sounds fucking weird.
Yeah.
Since I'm talking to you. But yeah, I remember because I was at UT graduating semester. You said 2000, it was 2006?
It was December 12th, 2005.
2005. So it's going into 2006. So it's my next to last semester, but it was finals.
I was going to say, that's got to be finals week.
So it was finals. And this was the same, it was either the same day or the day after. No, it was, oh my God, I forgot this.
What?
This
I've never heard this story.
You've never heard this?
No, like I think you've told me a little bit in passing, like, oh yeah, I got called, but I haven't heard the whole story.
I can tell you the whole story because I thought you were going to talk about when you were talking about scans, I sort of assumed you'd be talking about her as you were treating the cancer. I didn't know you were going to go to like the first scan.
Oh,
so which I think is great that that's the story you told, because instead of telling the whole tale in Reader's Digest, you gave us a good telling of one section. So like kudos. Thank you for being an amazing producer. But it makes me think of when I first heard, because I was living in Austin. I was at UT and I thought it was my last semester, but it was my next to last semester because I took with this same instructor, like both semesters of my senior year.
Oh, okay.
So shout out to Sandy Stone, ACT Lab.
No, Sandy Stone.
Or should I do UT Austin, Sandy Stone, pioneer, trans, maker of all gorgeousness. Anyways, okay. So I was in her class both my senior year. So semester A, we were in finals. It was December. And in that same semester, on this same day, I was dating someone, a Mormon someone that I thought was going to be my boo. My eternal boo.
Eterna-Boo. Yeah.
So I get, and this, you'll see why I say this sounds self-centered.
Okay.
I get the call from the
Who called you?
Everybody. Like I was in a final and I'm getting calls. Like I'm getting call.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm getting like text that's like family emergency, call back. And this was again early days of texting and stuff. So I'm like, oh shoot, I'm getting a text. Like
that's a big deal.
Yeah. It was, of what it is now. And so
pause. My cat's been crying and I can't. My sympathy can't handle it. Come on, come inside. Come on. Sorry, I can't handle it when she cries at the door. It just hurts my heart. Okay.
Oh, me too.
I know. I can't. Oh.
So anyway, so I'm in a final and I can see it. My fellow ACT Labbies, you were probably with me in this class because it was a very like craft table. We're all sitting around it. It was in the studios, which probably look totally different now. We're all sitting there and I'm like, my phone is off the chain vibrating. And I'm like, oh, shit. And so I like I look and I see family emergency, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to go see what this is. So
It's late. It's like 5:30 or 6.
Yeah.
7 or somewhere. Like it's late in the day. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. So like, I'm like, I have to see what this is. So I go and it was a performance class. So it's not like we were in a final, but people were doing pieces and stuff. Like they were performing their pieces and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I have to go see what this is. I take off. I can't remember who. I think it was one of the brothers I connected with first. I think it might have been Derek, maybe David. I don't remember. But they told me, and I was like, oh, wow.
What did they say? What was the words?
I don't remember them because I called you, which I think they contacted me because, like, you know, people. Then maybe I was supposed to have left you alone. I don't know. Like maybe they were thinking like you didn't.
We were in radiology and we couldn't reach anybody.
Right.
Because in that department the phones wouldn't work, and I had to literally dial a phone number. I just dialed one, and I don't remember who I called.
Yeah. So like the phone tree is going, and I'm like calling. Clearly that makes sense because I wasn't able to get in touch with you, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like trying to get in touch with you. That makes sense. But anyway, so I'm just like spiraling. I can't get in touch with you. It's flipping me out because that's not normal, as our listeners likely know. We're in touch on the regs.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the hell? So anyway, I go back or I leave, or I don't know what I do in that class. And I wrapped up somehow with the class. Either I went and grabbed my bag or finished whatever we were doing. I have no recollection. My next recollection is in my car, and I'm parked outside Kinsolving at UT Austin. I remember exactly where I was parked. And I'm like calling everyone, I can't get in touch with anyone. And so I call my boyfriend. Again, the guy I thought I was gonna be
Eterna-Boo. Call him up. Got it.
Call him up. Do you remember now?
No, I just have a feeling he's gonna be an ass about it, and I'm gonna be mad post-script.
Oh, yes. You are correct.
Oh, look at him. Look at him.
So, yeah. So I say, oh my God. Or I didn't say, oh my God, I was Mormon.
Yeah,
I said,
of course not.
oh my goodness. my niece, you know, my sister's, I don't think I even said my niece. I said my sister's daughter.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like, that sits different with me.
Oh my gosh, that's what I always call her.
Yeah.
I always say my sister's daughter.
I don't say niece. It's like niece. My sister's. It's like it's that's more hallowed or something.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's like attributing the proper ownership or something. Right, I don't know. I don't know.
You don't understand. This is my sister's child. Yeah, it means so much more. Okay.
It is. Oh my God, I didn't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Did we just both say yeah, okay? That's hilarious.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. I think we did it in the exact cadence. We'll have to go back. Listeners, rewind the tapes. But anyway, so I call him. Yes, that tape that's recording our show. So I call him for emotional support.
Yes.
And he was like not here for it. Didn't want to hear about it. Was like, I'm busy. Like literally like, and I was like, what are you doing? What do you mean you're busy? Like, I'm busy. I'm here with X person. Like, I can't talk. And I'm like, okay, well, like, leave because I'm your Eterna-Boo. Leave. My sister's like, I'm freaking out. I can't get in touch with her. And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, he's basically like,
oh.
And I'm just like, oh my God.
You are not Eterna-Boo style if that is your response to this major thing happening to me, you asshole.
Yes.
Oh,
So I'm like,
what a disappointment.
okay, like, wow, over it, but trying to give the benefit of the doubt because
Yeah.
look at the nerve back there.
But
So
you-
regal.
Right.
So regal you are.
you are you.
So then it's all wrapped up in this crazy memory because I'm like, oh, like something's off.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, like, what the heck? So he doesn't make time for me, doesn't blah, blah, blah. The next time I'm like calling him, I'm like, hello, like, are we going to see one another? Like, you haven't even talked to me. We were getting married. Again, in Mormonism, that's not that long, but still, like, so,
Yeah.
well, we weren't quite there for enough for me to say that. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Well,
We weren't like engaged.
yeah.
I've only been engaged to one person and
Yeah.
that was a success. That one stuck. But it was like in talks, I guess. Right.
Yeah. 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 Of course.
So anyways, so blah, 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 straight up just falls off the face of the earth, basically is ghosting me before
He has no
ghosting
clue
was
how
a
to even
term.
deal with it.
Huh?
Yeah. No clue how to even deal with it, but also no help in even saying, I don't know what to do, but tell me how to help you. Nothing.
Sure, nothing. But then time passes, and I'm like, what the heck? So I like find him and I'm like, yo, like, what the hell? And he's like, we need to get together and have a talk.
Oh,
And I'm like, okay. Like, very clearly he's going to break up with me, right?
yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. Like, in just the way he says it, I'm like, I know you're going to break up with me, sure, let's talk. So we like take the bus over to Whole Foods, like in Austin, Texas.
I broke up with you at Whole Foods.
Fucking shit. So there's this, I'm telling you, in Austin, so my Austinites, you know.
Oh yeah, Whole Foods is where it's at.
Austinites, Whole Foods is where it's at.
Especially
And the Whole
2020.
Foods, the huge Whole Foods, it was like the huge Whole Foods.
The flagship store.
Yeah, the flagship store in Austin is where my ass got dumped. So we go,
Sorry,
but wait for it.
your sister's daughter has cancer, so I can't be with you.
I can't be with you. I can't be with you. But
What?
we sit down and
Oh,
he's
God.
like, you know how I was inactive as a Mormon for some time? And I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, probably part of what attracted me. But yes,
okay.
well,
He's
that's
going in.
because I was living as a gay man.
No! That was so worth the wait, dude. That was great. I did not see that coming, and I have forgotten
It's a
the
twist.
connection of that.
It's a twist.
Oh my gosh. He was
Cancer
dying.
sucks, and then your relationships die.
Yeah. So he was going back to living as a gay man, is what he was telling you.
Well, this is what's weird.
I
This
forget
takes
there
us to a whole other conversation. Do you want the answer to that question? 'Cause it's a
Yes.
convoluted answer.
This is awesome.
It's a convoluted answer.
Let's hear it.
So, okay. So I thought, I'm just like processing this. I assume that's a dump. Like what you assume.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Oh,
Like-
but he's trying to be Mormon, so he's gonna try. No, don't try. No. Oh, poor guy.
so, oh.
He's trying to
just wait.
say he
Just
tried.
wait.
I remember the rest of this. Tell our listeners.
Okay, okay.
Oh gosh, I remember the rest of this. I just didn't realize the timing.
Right. Because I didn't tell you right away, because what am I going to tell you my breakup story when your daughter just gets diagnosed with cancer?
My boyfriend broke up with
But
me.
like, can you listen to me right now? Like, imagine, I'm like, so Alexa has cancer and that sucks. But like, my relationship of a month is in crisis.
You fucking know that I would have been like, oh my gosh, what?
I know. That's why I wasn't going to bring it up. Like, please. Oh, yes, this was the same time. So,
okay. Oh,
I don't tell you if I'm having a hard time when you're having a hard time. I don't want you to have double hard time.
I know. I do the same thing back.
Huh?
I do the same thing.
I know, which is why I have to be like, what is going on?
What's going on? Okay, tell us how gay.
Anyways,
life as a gay
so
man
living as a gay man, I assume that's a dump. So I'm like acting accordingly. I'm sad. I'm like, hey, like I thought this was a thing, but it's not. Like, okay, because you're gay. All right. What am I gonna do? I can't compete. With
No.
that. I have an innie, not an outie.
You don't have an outie. I had a weird dream the other night, and it has to do with the innie outie thing. Go
ahead.
I will tell you in a moment. Finish this story.
No.
I won't forget. I will not forget that.
Okay, my ADD ass would forget.
Okay.
So, anyways, so I'm assuming it's a breakup, acting accordingly. We take the bus back to campus. We're in his office, or actually, I had to go back to campus because I had to go back to that class, it was in the same location, but not the same class.
Okay.
Anyway, back to that same location. I'm like, and I had to perform. And so that screwed me all up. And I had A perfect performances that whole semester, and then I got a B- in the class. So that'll just tell you how I performed that day.
Yeah.
But anyways, fast forward, I'm dealing with it. I like beef that class. I'm like, I can't do anything about it. Like, whatever. Whatever.
You're out. Yeah.
I can distinctly remember he was an admissions counselor for UT. So we're in his office, really like a super high rise.
Ooh.
Oh yes, very nice offices.
Fancy.
UT Austin. I'm like, I should go be something there. I don't know what. But anyway, he's admissions for UT. We're in his office. I'm looking out, and I remember the view as he tells me, I can picture the view, as he basically tells me, I don't want you as an Eterna-Boo. I want you as an Eterna-Beard.
No.
He doesn't say those words.
But he basically
those are my
like,
funny words. But I
like you, and you're fun, and you're like the best female.
Yeah, and like I want a family, and like I want to make it work. Like basically, like I want a family.
What about what I want?
Exactly. And I was just,
I don't want to be the gay dude. What the hell?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, and I'm like thinking about it.
Yeah, because
then I like met because of course you're taught in Mormonism that like
just
gay isn't a thing. It's like a thing. And I was always like, yeah, it is a thing. That's why I thought it was a breakup. But he's saying the Mormon line of like, it's a choice and I would choose you. I'm choosing you.
Oh gosh. Until you choose that.
And I'm like, yeah. And I am of the mind, and I didn't realize really probably until this time how not common it is in Mormonism, where I was like, you don't choose that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't choose that. And so then he's like falling more in love with me.
Because he probably felt validated with his poor guy.
So he finds a Mormon. I know. I can see it all now. He finds a Mormon girl. So he's trying to be Mormon. And he finds an attractive, funny, charming, smart girl to love that tells him being gay isn't a choice.
Yeah.
Little did she know she was like reassuring him. Like little did she know. but like, you know, this like super
God.
pro gay
Yeah.
activist Mormon girl, he's like, oh my God, this is it. This is the one.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Until
like,
you
I
were,
see it now,
yeah.
but I had to be like, I
Oh, I hope he's left
can't
the church and he's happy.
Eterna-Beard.
Yeah.
No, he's left the Mormon church, but then he went to this like weird offshoot of the Mormon church that like I think allowed gayness but was still Mormon or something. Like a orthodox, or not orthodox, what are they called? Fundamentalist something. Yeah.
Oh.
And
But he can still live like he wants to live.
I think so.
I'm so heartbroken over this guy right now.
Like, yeah,
I'm like,
me too.
it hurts my heart, these people.
Yeah, like,
I'm sorry it hurt you, but
it took me a minute to get to that place, and now it just makes me sad. Like at the time,
yeah, I
like,
know. I'm
why
sorry.
the hell? No, I understand, but I'm like, why did you make me love you? Like,
Yeah. And now,
I can't have you.
Yeah.
You're gay. Like, I could
Oh.
never.
No.
You know, and I tried even when I was Mormon. See, I've always been different. But even then I was like I know what the church says, but like that's not real. Like, you're gay.
Yeah, you're gay, you're
And
gay.
like as he's feeling validated, I'm also saying like, I'm not gonna be your beard, man.
No,
Like,
dude.
I'm not gonna birth your children. Like, I'm not gonna have myself know that the only reason you're having sex with me is because you want me to have kids. Especially if I had moved forward with that and had multiple kids.
No.
I am a single kid person.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been horrible. Think of how
and let's say, side note, the greatest sex ever is after you're done having kids.
Yeah.
So what would you get? Nothing.
Nothing.
He would just do it to have kids and then that's it.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Ooh, poor you. No.
And that made me angry because I'm like, you literally were gonna ask me to do that?
Yeah.
Like,
and
you
not
don't
tell
love
me.
me. You don't love me.
No.
You're gonna ask me to do that. You don't love me. Which is why I know that God does not hate the gays.
No.
Because
absolutely.
if God loves you, he wouldn't ask you to do that.
Exactly. Fuckers.
Stupid.
That will need to be removed.
Gosh, I have a friend. Yeah. I have a friend who is lesbian, and like, I've always known she is lesbian, like literally forever. And I never said anything.
Yeah.
You know, she had an experience when she was at college that she was so weirded out that a lesbian like thought she was a lesbian, like thought they were meant to be together. She was so disturbed by it. She talked about it all the time, and I was like talking about it all the time because there's probably something there.
Yeah.
But whatever. Who am I to say? Live your delusion. La 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 la. So finally, she tells me that she's in a relationship with a woman.
Oh, you told me about this. Yeah.
Yeah. But then she went back to the church again.
Oh, God.
And ended the relationship.
Oh, poor thing.
To go back to just live a celibate life forever.
Like, listen, I've been celibate for a little while now, and it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. Which leads me to my dream. I had a lesbian dream.
Oh, yes.
And I was hanging out with some boobs. And then I was like, okay. And then I realized, and then I went down, and there was a dick.
Perfect.
And I was like, oh my God.
This is the best of all possible worlds.
In my dream, I was like, hell yeah.
I'm telling you, there's not much sexier than a drag queen. And if they were full trans who kept the equipment, there's a reason it's a fetish.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think in my waking hours that is a fetish or anything I would be interested in.
Well, sure. I just mean Your
I
brain
know.
is like, ooh, best
Yeah.
of all possible worlds. And then there's
I
people
get
in
boobs.
waking
I get a
world
penis.
that feel that way. In waking
Yeah.
world are like, best of all possible worlds.
Exactly.
And they ain't wrong.
No, they ain't.
They're wrong for fetishizing humans. But
Yeah, that's kind of weird. But anyway,
let's not fetishize others, please.
let's not objectify, please. But yeah,
Anyways.
that was my
So
dream.
yeah, so that whole hearing about Alexa is totally tied with
It's
well,
enmeshed with you being asked to be a beard.
an Eterna-Boo.
No, an
Yeah,
Eterna-Boo.
it's like it was all within like a super rapid course of hours or something,
That's
like,
freaking weird. That is weird.
like 24 to 72 hour.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, so that was wild. And I was like, wow.
Yeah. Do you remember when we finally talked? I don't remember the first time we talked after she was diagnosed.
I don't.
I do remember the time that we talked when she was in the ICU. Do you remember that phone conversation?
I don't know.
Yeah. So I couldn't use the phone a lot because I was in the room with her a lot, and you can't use your phone when you're in there.
Oh, so you went out.
Yeah, I was in the hallway.
Yes.
And
I
we
remember
finally,
this.
we finally connected. Yeah.
I have when you said you went out, this is what's so crazy is I distinctly have a vision. I wasn't even there, but because you told me where you were, I like visualized you in that space. And so I remember this conversation because of how I was visualizing you.
Oh, interesting.
Memory is weird. Okay, go on.
That's weird. I get that. No, I mean, that's just it. I remember connecting with you, and I remember feeling then, oh, I'm going to get weepy. We're not even as close then as we are now. And that's impossible to me because I know how close we are and I know how close we've always been. But I remember connecting with you and feeling like you were the only person, one of the only people, definitely in our family, like that understood what was happening. And when I talked to you, I felt like I was talking to my partner in this almost. It was like, hey, I'm doing this over here. And I know that you have been through this whole journey with me. And you didn't have to say anything. I didn't have to catch you up. I didn't have to explain what was going on because you knew, because you read everything and paid attention. And we had talked so much. And you were just there. You had just come down for my 30th birthday. And I had just spent that time. And that was the last healthy weekend that Alexa had, was when you were there. And it was just like, I remember that. I don't remember what we said, but I remember that feeling. It's like that quote when people say, I don't remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And I think that's the biggest thing about, if I would say that's the biggest thing about our relationship, is that it doesn't matter even the text that you say or the text that you send. It's just how you make me feel, just knowing that you are always there supportive. And that like really meant a lot to me. I never told you that, but I think you already know that, but it really, like when at her funeral and her video was playing that you made, I turned around and I looked at you.
I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, she's been very close to my mind lately.
Yes. I had a feeling they would talk about her this evening.
I did too, which is really weird.
Vince can.
Yeah,
But I didn't make the connection. I mean, obviously you made the immediate connection and I didn't. Now it seems like intended.
Yes.
Like
the whole universe lately is like, nah, girl, you about to talk about
this.
You gonna talk about her.
You're gonna talk about her.
Yeah. Okay.
The real story.
I have her little boots here.
Oh yes, little boots. Come through, little boots.
And I have this moment. I have this moment on my dresser.
Oh yes.
So she's getting her bone marrow transplant. And this is about all she could do. And we were sleeping in the morning and we fell asleep holding hands and we were holding. And this is her little doll. She named Ashley after our cousin that had passed away from leukemia complications afterwards. And this is her Elmo and Zoe blanket. That was who she's super into. This is at Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that picture because, I don't know, it reminds me, even though it's really hard to look at and it's tough, I don't look at it that way. It just reminds me of what a special bond that we had. And it reminds me every day how thankful I am that I got to be that person for her.
You were her number one.
Yeah.
And her only number one. It's never given the chance to be displaced for better or worse. Definitely worse.
Yeah.
I would have taken it. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, sure.
Man,
Anyway.
hell, I remember that moment. It actually is very validating to hear you say that because I felt that way.
Oh,
and I didn't
really?
know if you felt that way.
Oh, yeah. I felt like, yeah, all this stuff is going on and I have friends and I have family and like our parents are insane and everybody's there and all this stuff is happening. But when I connected with you, I felt like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It was like,
yeah.
It just, I
Hey.
can't find the words what I'm trying to say.
It's like when you're running through a crowd and like your crowd, it's like the cinematic moment when they're running through a crowd and they like finally find each other and the crowd is like, hey, like, and then you know, you don't even need the context to get that they know each other. They're the closest in this crowd and they're going to run away together.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly right.
It's the chaos.
It's like everything else is like blurred out and then this becomes clear. Yeah, that's what it felt like.
I remember that so distinctly.
Yeah.
Because I was hearing all these secondhand horrifying tales. Like from everyone that was able to talk to you or was telephoned from person to person. And like, I'm just like, oh my God, we have a very medical family. So like everyone's saying like the actual medical processes and all these things. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that is weird because
I wasn't talking directly to you for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't talking about it. Like I just couldn't. Yeah. Just not necessarily emotionally, but just physically, like,
Yeah.
But there were all these things happening. And like, when I think about it, usually say, okay, well, she was in the ICU, but you can say those short words, but actually what was happening was she was dying almost daily. We had to bring her back. She was having her blood cleansed and those kept breaking, like all these things that were going down. We kept watching, the doors were open and like, she was on 24-hour surveillance with a nurse in the room 24 hours a day, which that usually doesn't happen unless you're on, like all of these things that are going down and like people are communicating that. And so I'm sure it was just like, oh my gosh,
It's terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah. And thinking back, it's like, wow. Oof. I mean, it's crazy because when you're in it and you've been in it for so long, you get almost in a weird way used to it, where you're used to this stress and the trauma. And like, I remember that damn chaplain coming around, like creeping around like a damn Grim Reaper. And I told him, I was like, I do not want a chaplain near this room ever again. Get them out of here. And so they left. And then I just had our social workers and like our people. Like we were, we had people around and like we were going to a church at the time and that person came and he's one of the greatest men ever. Like he's just a good person. And so he came by, but obviously left all of that. But I didn't want this Grim Reaper around. I don't need you. I don't know you. I have no relationship with you. Go away. I just know you're here because my kid's dying. Go away. It was super weird.
And do they do that to be like, in case that would be comforting to someone or something?
Yes.
I would see it Grim Reaper-y too. I'd be like, get out of here.
Get away.
I totally see it Grim Reaper.
Yeah. It's super Grim Reaper.
All right.
And they walk by and you're like,
out of here. Ooh, yeah, they better not. I gotta put that in my hospital contract. If I'm ever in the hospital with my kid or my spouse,
Grim Reapers.
No Grim Reapers.
Well, at the time when we signed up, I told them whatever religion, whatever, but like if you can say, you're atheist now or whatever, so they won't bring anybody by, but they still offer it. I'm like, go away. I don't want you. You're not going to do anything. But, at the time, everybody's like, we're praying. And like, we had thousands of people praying. Well, if prayer ever did anything, maybe it would have worked, but it doesn't. So here we are. And that has nothing to do with my daughter dying. I just don't like that has nothing. So many people believe that because she died, then I suddenly am weak enough that would make me lose my faith. No, I was already looking into all of that before she was diagnosed. Then she was diagnosed and I had time on my hands. I read a whole lot or whatever it was. And then, things kind of happened. She happened to die. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of shit happened to me before she died that would have made me leave the church way earlier.
Tis true.
So,
ladies and gents
and
those in
yeah.
between.
Yeah. So it wasn't that. It was just, I don't attribute, and actually in a weird way, I honor her life so much because she lived and it was beautiful and she had this beautiful experience and I got to be her mother and it's wonderful. Do I believe I will see her again? No, I really don't believe that I will see her ever again. The thought of that is beautiful and comforting. And if I ever did, and if her spirit is out there, I can feel her spirit when I think about her and I can feel her. And if that's out there somewhere, I'm all about it.
Yes.
The odds of that happening, probably not. But if it happens and her energy's out there and we're connecting, I love that concept. Is it a God and her sitting around in heaven as a 4-year-old waiting for me? No. Even right as she died, I felt like it's almost like that was probably one of the most, no, I'm not going to say probably. When she died was the most spiritual experience I've ever had in my life. Because you're holding this child and you can't really tell when she dies because she's just kind of lifeless anyways. And she dies and then they tell you, and I was in a rocking chair and I remember holding her and it was almost like these huge angel wings just like wrapped the whole room. And it was like heaven was there right there with us. It was powerful. It was powerful and beautiful. And it was almost as though I could feel her spirit, almost like I was letting her transition into this other space. And it was immediately she wasn't 4. It was immediately she was wise and beautiful and angelic and wonderful and amazing and all-knowing and all these things. So it was, I don't know, that was a really, really powerful experience. And I don't care if that's something that my heart felt or my mind felt or,
what
real.
does it matter, really?
It doesn't matter because
Perception is reality.
Exactly. It was a beautiful experience. And trust me, enough of grief and pain came after that. But in that moment, for just that small moment, it was comforting. And who wouldn't want to be with their child? If your child experiences anything, you want to be with them. I didn't have a choice. She was going to die before me. So I'd rather it be, there's so many parents that don't get to have that experience, that aren't with their child when they pass away, can't protect them, aren't holding them. And let me tell you, that kills my soul. I cannot comprehend it. So you may think about these things that I've gone through. I know. It's horrible to think about.
I've never thought about that before.
Yeah.
Not like you compare shit, but it just goes to show, but pain is you can't compare pain relative because there's always something worse. The worst thing I've ever thought of is you losing Alexa, and then to think, oh no, it could get worse.
Oh yeah.
It just shows you.
Oh yeah.
No point in comparing pain, people.
No, there's no point. And even people that haven't, I talk to people and I have friends who have not lost children who say, oh, well, I shouldn't be talking to you about this. I'm like, no. Your pain and what your experience is relative to your life.
Yeah.
Like, that's my cross to bear. That's not Christian. That's not anybody else's. Like, that's mine and it's mine. And yeah, that's my pain, but that doesn't mean it negates yours. And because I experienced this, I'm sorry. I just finished watching Women of the Movement with the death of Emmett Till and her 14-year-old boy. My boy's 14. And what that kid went through, I was a sobbing, I was a mess because I'm thinking of my child. and
Right.
thinking of my boy tortured and hurt and crying out, and I would have not been able to save him. There is no way.
Oh gosh, you are doing me wrong.
I'm sorry.
No,
But
no, it's so bad.
Yeah,
Like all of it. It's just gonna get worse and worse.
it can.
Please.
I'm telling you. So I'm not going to lessen what I went through. It was
Horrific.
It was horrific. But I was very blessed in many, many ways. So
It's ways that you never think about until you level up the pain. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
would have never considered that.
oh yeah.
It's like, what are the things? So, oh shit, oh shit.
Uh-oh.
This is really interesting.
Okay.
It's almost like you can tell your own level of pain threshold by what you look to as like, oh, well, I shouldn't be complaining because I could have experienced X.
Oh.
Right? So my thing is I shouldn't be complaining because I could experience child loss, because you
Yeah.
have experienced the worst thing that I have thought of, right?
Yeah.
But since you experienced that worst thing that you could think of, it's like you have to level up to like, well,
Yeah.
what's worse than my worst thing? Well, at least I don't have it. Like, it's almost like a self-preservation. It's like,
Yeah.
well, at least I didn't have to experience that. And because your thing that you actually experienced is my, well, at least I haven't experienced that.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
Yeah.
how big is your pain? Well, I'll tell you, what's the thing that you think of when you say, well, at least I haven't experienced that.
Yeah.
And
Because
if
you
I'm
know
that,
what?
mine's more.
Yeah. And think about that. Everything you say that at least I haven't experienced blank, someone has.
Right. Exactly.
There are-
That's what
there
I
are
mean.
people- I heard this story on the Global News podcast that I cannot even repeat
Oh, no.
because I wanted to claw my heart out and die.
What? Oh no. What is it?
I can't even speak to it. It was a mother and a child, and her literally having to watch as her child died chained. I can't handle it.
Oh
can't handle
my gosh.
I
What?
cannot. Yes, it's terrible. And these assholes out there that are torturous and horrific with human rights. I can't. There's so much, and these things happen every day
I
in other
know.
countries,
I know.
and they happen in ours
Our
too.
countries
We
too.
go home.
You
I know.
kidding me?
I know,
There's
but
like
at
30
least
the
here,
size
all of us are pretty much
two
horrified.
levels of your house.
Right. But all of us are horrified, and we're trying to, other countries are like, meh, or, the people that are in charge are meh.
Yes.
And you're just
yes.
like, you're horrified. And other countries are like, dude, pay attention to your freaking human rights.
Yeah.
How can you treat people this way? And my son would say, because people are animals and they're horrific, and that's why he loves animals better. And he's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
At least animals accept who they are. Humans pretend.
I saw there's a scene in that new show I told you about, Derek.
Mm-hmm.
Fills my soul when he says, this is why I like animals better, because they don't leave their babies. They don't leave their babies. They stay and they fight for them because they're weak until they are strong. Oh, stop it. Can't even.
Oh no.
I know.
What
So
the
precious.
heck?
I know.
This is a sad show. This is a great show. You know why? Because this is real life, y'all.
Some days we have sad days.
Some days we have sad days. And that's why our bond is so exciting. Because we can talk about this shit and joke and be psycho as well.
Also,
All
point out the fact that you have great nails today. Show us your nails. They're great. I've been looking at them the whole time.
Oh, thank you. Oh, these old things.
What? My nails, did you say?
Patch. Look at this mask me patch.
Oh, what is happening there?
Mask me.
It matches my spider bite scar.
Oh, perfect.
Can you see it?
Barely.
Pinching out my chin. That's so weird.
Barely.
Yeah, you can't see it on screen. Remember when it was an infinity sign for a while?
Yes.
That was so cool. Then it changed. Boo. Skulls for life.
Wah, wah. What other horrifying things can we discuss?
I think that's it for today. I can't take it anymore.
Oh my God. Okay.
That-
Well,
that
let
is
me scan my room.
No,
Oh,
can't take
the
it anymore.
most out of place thing.
No.
No, this is
No.
good. This is good. This is good. I'm scanning. I'm seeing fun things. This. This is a little piece of nature.
Aw, who gave it to you? Where did you pick it? What day?
Guess.
It is part of your wedding bouquet.
No. But
is
it might
part
as well be, because let me tell you
it-
the story of this.
Okay.
It might as well be. The story of this. Okay. So I, much to my chagrin, am always the passenger as me and my spouse drive. I'm always the passenger. He is the driver, always. That is the one way in which our gender roles match what you see on the regular, which is hilarious because you drive typically.
All the time.
And our brothers' wives actually, no, D1's wife drives, but not D2's.
Yeah.
Anyways, who cares? My point is, these little babies, they're kind of like dry. They were fluttering all around, and I saw them, and I said to myself, "Oh, it makes me feel like home. It's like a mini tumbleweed." And like just saying this in my brain. And my lovely spouse was like, "Oh, look, you look like little tumbleweeds." And I'm like, "Yes, they do." And it was such a tender moment to me, but I didn't think he thought anything of it. Like but just wait. So it was, so I make the observation in my mind. I tend to be a quicker, observe, comment, and I have this running ticker tape in my head, right?
Yeah.
So I see it and I'm like, "Oh, cute tumbleweeds. That makes me feel at home. The tumbleweeds. I'm seeing them, tumbleweeds. And I'm processing these tumbleweeds. And they're not tumbleweeds, clearly, but I'm like, they're tumbleweeds.
They're like hydrangeas or something.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. And then he makes this, "Oh, look, these little tumbleweeds." And because he saw something and felt the same thought, it was such a tender moment, because I'm like, this is what Chris is talking about. This is what, C1 is talking about. That you feel like you want, right?
Yeah.
It felt, and because you and I have had so many conversations about this, I've started to be grateful for it in a way that I wouldn't have been, just unrelated. And because that's on my mind, because I'm grateful for him in that way, and I wouldn't have ever thought to be, but you and I have been talking about your desires for relationship and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, the tumbleweed was one thing. I was like, see, anyone else would not have seen that and thought tumbleweed. They would have thought dried hydrangea, whatever the hell. Who knows what this is? Tell us.
I think it's I don't know what that.
But I didn't really say that. I just was like, "Oh yeah, I thought the same thing. How funny." And just, that's it.
Yeah.
A couple days later, I come home.
Oh gosh.
I know.
What?
I know. A couple days later, or a few days later, I don't know how long the time period was, but it was not the same day. I come home from work, and that is sitting on the freaking cutting board. He's like, "Oh, the thing." And I was like, "Of course I know the thing. I know exactly what that is. I know." I nearly cried. I saw the thing.
Yes.
And I don't know if he Like, how did he procure that?
That
Like,
is-
did he pull out? Like, I didn't think to ask.
No, that is 10
Like, just
times
the
spooning.
tenderness of like
Oh, stop
picturing
it.
what he did. Like, did he pull over and pick it up?
Yeah,
Like,
well, yes,
did he
exactly.
get in the yard and think, oh, one of those things? Like, I don't know, but even not knowing is so sweet. Like, I don't even care. So I keep it. I keep it.
I would keep that for freaking ever. That is
Yes.
you're going to have that forever. You need to get a
Yes,
little
and I'm
case
like,
for
how
it
do
and
I-
stick
how
it
do
in
I
the case.
Preserved. I don't know. Is
You
that
have to get a glass case for it at Michael's or whatever.
Oh shit, would that work?
Yes, it works. And yes, you're getting that. We're going when I get there. We are preserving that for the rest of your life. Yeah.
You're gonna
Okay.
help me like find a way to preserve it in like a
Okay.
little ooh.
Ooh.
I caught a vision.
Okay.
It could be one of those like bell jars.
Yes. Like Belle, like
Jars,
the
and like I
Yes.
could get like a little stick, like or like a little bird foot or something, or like an actual tumbleweed thing or something to like hold it up.
yes,
So it
we're
looks
doing
like
it.
kind of gothy. I'm making art. You guys.
That's perfect.
Oh my
Okay, it's a deal.
God. And then it's called Tumbleweed, a collaboration of C2 and B1.
Oh. And that is our show.
It is our show, other than saying that R1 is the ultimate collaboration of C2.
This is true.
The ultimate artistic collaboration. And then that's our show.
Oh,
You gotta say it. You gotta say
Oh,
it.
and then that is our show. I like that ending.